Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Silver Lining. I'm your host, Juliette, Valle. This is South Florida Fair 2020, and I'm extra festive today because I am so excited for the incredible guest I have with me today. She's my literal homegirl. Please welcome Miss Florida 2019, Michaela McLean.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, Michaela. I told her that the tacky headband comes off after the introduction. She liked it, though, so all the haters who said it was too much, well, Miss Florida approves. But Michaela, I'm so happy to have you here. You are just the absolute best, and you are my last guest for 2020. I was saving the best for last. I mean, I got to interview all the girls from your class and talk about their very interesting year, but I can't wait to hear from the girl who is representing our Miss Florida class and doing it so well. So I have all your questions ready if you're ready.
Perfect, let's do this.
Okay, so I want to know how you first got involved with the Miss America organization, and what do you believe you learned along the way that led you to your Miss Florida win or Miss Florida Outstanding Teen win as well?
Yes, so I first got involved back in 2014. I have been a competitive dancer my whole life, and so I really saw involvement in the Miss America organization as just a way and an opportunity for me to dance on another stage. And so I really had no idea what I was going into. It was more so I was just such a dancer at heart, and I just wanted another stage and platform to share my talent of performing with other people. And so it really just caught my attention. And then when I saw that I could win scholarship money and gain skills in interview, and also just further my social impact initiative at the time when I was 15. I was like, wait, this is the full package. Like, this is something that I really need to go for. And so sure enough, I won my first local. I believe I was 14 years old at the time, 15 years old. And I was Miss Winter Gardens Outstanding Teen. And then I went on to win Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen 2014 on my first try, which I was very thankful for. And so when I won Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen, it really was just the prequel to Miss Florida. I got to have a bunch of big sisters in Miss Florida, and see just that was a job that I wanted to go for one day. I got to be mentored by Tori Cohen, who was Miss Florida at the time. And Tori's so great. And so it just showed me that one day I wanted to go for Miss Florida. And so fast forward, I took some time in college for myself and then realized that I really wanted to achieve that dream of winning the title one day. And so it took me 2 tries, and here we are. And now I get a victory lap as Miss Florida, which is even more special. So many just lessons that I've learned along the way, but would not trade my involvement with the organization for the world.
Yes, and you just have done such an incredible job as Miss Florida. And like I said, you have represented both the teen state title and the Miss State title. And forgive me for looking down. I was looking up your ranking at the Miss Florida's or the Miss America's Outstanding Teen competition. I can't believe you won Miss Florida Teen on your first try. That's incredible. And then you placed top 12. So you just did so well at the national competition. And you also placed top 15 at Miss America. I could not forget to say that either. I was like screaming when I saw you. You looked gorgeous in your red gown. Just what
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
so I do want to know, so you represented 2 Miss local titles and then 1 teen local titles, and then you had 2 state titles. So that combined is 5 years of service right there. And so I want to know how those years of service impacted you. And also, if you could just throw in there as well, I want to know how it's different serving as a teen state title holder versus a Miss State title holder. I'm wondering, are there really any differences, or is it pretty similar?
Yeah, great question. So, yes, over 5 years of involvement, I would, like I said earlier, not trade it for the world. I think all my local titles really prepared me for Miss Florida, and then it really prepared me for that extra year that I got as Miss Florida. I would have not been able to step into this position of year 2 if it weren't for just all the years that came of service and community involvement and being a leader and being an ambassador on behalf of an organization. So, over time, they really all those titles and years of being in the organization have sharpened my communication skills. They've sharpened my interview skills. They've sharpened my public relations skills. And so that's why it is so important that if you do not win on your first try, to keep trying, because if you realize it or not, this organization is really sharpening and advancing just your skills for any job that you were to walk into. And that's what is so incredible about the Miss America organization. It really is so different than any other organization I've been a part of, because it has molded me and shaped me and just really pushed me to be the best version of myself. And so now, wrapping up this year as Miss Florida, and about to crown a new Miss Florida in June. I'm just so happy with the personal development that I've gone through and just the progress that I've gone through as Miss Florida. So I'm very thankful for just Miss America for doing that to me. But Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen is set up to be the little sister of Miss Florida. And so I think it's so cool to see so many of these teen ambassadors just run with their title and maximize every opportunity, whether that's in their social impact initiative that they're passionate about or scheduling appearances on behalf of Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen. And so that experience in 2014 really prepared me for Miss Florida in the way that it showed me I'm a role model. People are looking up to me. I get to book appearances on behalf of the organization that are either in my community or all across the state. And then just being in that position of knowing I have a responsibility and I have to show up to the job and look the part, all contributed to things that I learned as Miss Florida. So they really prepared my mind and my body and my spirit as Miss Florida. So then when I stepped into this role, it's all taken to the next level. I would say Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen totally does prepare you for it, but there's something about stepping into the role of Miss Florida where you just have to go for it. And there's a lot of times where you feel like you're blind, you don't know what you're doing, and you're kind of figuring it out along the way. But nothing is better than just being willing and being flexible and just knowing that you're not going to be perfect right off the bat stepping into the position, but you're going to learn so much. And now I can say in this year too that in the second year that I have, that I'm just so much more comfortable because we've gotten all the kinks out in those first couple of months. And yeah, I'm just very thankful that the teen program did prepare me for it because those extra years as a 15-year-old really set the pace of what Miss Florida was going to look like.
Yes, and I remember watching you serving as the teen, you know, when I dreamed of being a part of the organization, and I remember thinking, I want to be just like her. I remember your dance at Miss America's Outstanding Teen. I think it was like Les Miserables inspired,
Yes, yeah.
and you were just incredible. So, I mean, you just represented the state so well twice, and now you're doing it for 2 years. So I just want to commend you and maybe perhaps add a little question in here.
Yeah.
The Miss America program designs the reigning title holders, you know, a 1-year track. It's designed that way for a reason because it's extremely arduous work. There's a lot of grueling appearances, and while it's an honor that many girls like me want to achieve, you know, I don't want to be delusional and not recognizing that it is indeed a hard job, and you're doing it 2 years. So that's why I find your class so incredible and why I wanted to start the show in the first place, is to honor you girls and say most of these girls have accepted a 2-year term doing this incredibly hard work, and you're doing it during a pandemic, no less. I want to know, because you just recently graduated from the University of Alabama, which I'm going to touch on in a sec, but you probably had dreams and plans for this year after years Miss Florida, and all of this was completely unprecedented by many. And so I'm wondering, were you ever hesitant about accepting a second year? Because were you like, I don't know, I want to move on, I really have had fun, or did you say to yourself, this is my obligation and I want to do it a second time?
Yeah, great question. I was hesitant. I was very hesitant. June and July were really hard months for me, just because I was going through a lot personally too. And so on top of a lot of personal things happening in my life, I felt like I had to make a huge decision with Miss Florida, whether to move on with my life and technically resign at that point, or continue it and step into the role for a second year, which is massive responsibility. And it's just like you said earlier, the years Miss Florida is designed for 12 months. You're supposed to give it your all in those 12 months, go to as many schools as you can. You're running around like a crazy woman all across the state. You seriously are zigzagging from coast to coast. And the whole point of it in those 12 months is that you end knowing that you packed as much as you could in those 365 days. And so, of course, I had no idea COVID was going to strike, as all of us had no idea, in March. And so I was going after it. I was just ranking up a lot of schools. I was speaking to over, I think, 8,000 people at that point. I just got off the heels of Miss America, and I'll let you know, like, I was really tired. I did not know how I was going to continue it for a whole year at the pace that I was going. And so I really had to step back and see, okay, what is this next year going to truly look like? Well, one, Miss America is not happening. So all of that stress and pressure was completely off, knowing that I didn't have to prepare for a massive national competition. So that relieved a lot of pressure in that debate of whether I should move forward. And then two, a lot of in-person appearances were canceled. And so I wasn't going to be traveling all the way up to Tallahassee and Miami and Daytona Beach and racking in over 2,000 miles a week in that second year like I was doing in my first year. And so considering all of those different factors, I knew that if I was going to continue the job of Miss Florida, it was going to look very different. And so I really had to pray about it. And it was really important for me to just have that piece of moving forward, knowing that it was going to be a position that I was going to take again. And it was hard for me. I'm still looking for a job outside of Miss Florida, but I'm so thankful that in my second year, I've been able to Zoom and virtually come into classrooms. I think I virtually have come into over 40 to 50 classrooms as of the shutdown, which is awesome. And Miss Florida is a full-time job. So I do get paid every 2 weeks, which is amazing. And every school appearance is a paid appearance. And we're very lucky here in Florida that we have that set up. So while I didn't find, or I haven't found a job outside of Miss Florida quite yet, it's on the way, is that Miss Florida has kept me so incredibly busy. So to answer your question, was very hesitant at first, but very grateful that the second year as Miss Florida has looked very different than the first.
And I will say that you are definitely going to find that job. I mean, they'd be crazy not to hire you. And if they don't hire you, well, tell them to call me. I'll tell them to hire you.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
But yes, I just want to, I'm not surprised by your answer because I've spoken to so many girls in your class, right? And I've heard their same stories. And so that's the reason why I asked this question is I want to hear, from your perspective, what was that decision like? But had I not talked to so many other girls and realized that this was a difficult decision for many, I probably wouldn't have asked you this only because you never let on that it was ever hesitant for you. And not that it's a bad thing that it was, but you, for our class, have just been such like a light. You have been so hands-on with us. And I know you even had COVID at one point and you had to make that announcement. And I remember you would still be on conference calls or you would still be updating us. I remember you literally were texting us as you had it. Like you were
yes.
I was like, how does this girl have the energy? Like you were smiling and just, so you have been such a role model for all of us. And I just have to say that about you because I think you have handled this so gracefully. You've incorporated us in like TikTok challenges, like Instagram highlights, like any media related thing that we could do together in lieu of not being able to see each other in person at all. You have done that. And I think you've been incredible. So I'm so proud of you for taking on a second year. And I thank you for helping us all feel really positive during this hard time because you certainly have inspired me to do a lot on my social media too.
Well, thank you. That is like the sweetest compliment. And thank you for just paying attention to the little details. And it encourages us because, even though we are in this position of being in a second year, which is like, there's so many perks to it. We do have our times where we're struggling and we're trying to navigate these unknown waters of a second year and then everything that's happened within our political climate as well as COVID-19. And so it is hard, but we are so thankful for just local title holders like you that have also done an incredible job, have maximized every opportunity despite the circumstances. And I can't wait for Miss Florida. I really can't. Just to be all in person is at least going to just be the cherry on top. So
I know it feels like yesterday that we got the announcement back in late May that it was going to be canceled, or maybe it was early May, either one. And now we're in near 2021, so it's going to come quickly. It
is, for sure.
So we'll be in person with each other soon, and then I can fangirl over you there.
Oh my God, I'll fangirl over you, so the feelings are mutual.
So you are very accomplished, not only because you won Miss Florida, but you're also just accomplished academically. You are a recent graduate of the University of Alabama, where you earned a double major in dance and public relations with a specialization in sport and entertainment communication management. That is a long title. And
it is a very long title, yes.
Different majors. I mean, you have like media and then you have the arts there, which is so cool. And as you mentioned before, you are a very talented competitive dancer. I've seen you dance. So I'm so excited to see you continue that passion into college. I want to know what made you decide to double major in those two very different things. And what does that mean for you in the future? What would you like to do with that chosen career path?
Yeah, great question. So I've been a dancer, like I mentioned earlier, my whole life, and I knew that I wanted to continue it in college as it was going to help prepare my performance for one day Miss America. And so as I danced in college, I was able to be on Alabama's dance team as well as in the dance program. So I studied it, and I studied the history of dance. A lot of people don't know, like, how do you study dance? But we did have like technique classes where we did get graded A through F, and then we also had like history of dance. We learned sound and lighting. We learned pedagogy. So all these really cool classes that totally just increased my dance vocabulary, which I'm very thankful. And then after outside of dance, I knew that I wanted a main academic bachelor's degree. And so I chose public relations, and that's something that I do every single day as Miss Florida. So I'm very thankful that that prepared me for this job. And then my specialization in it is because I love entertainment and I love media. And so I was able to learn more of the ins and outs of being a public relations professional on behalf of an entertainment agency, which is what I would love to do one day. But I actually really love television. And so even though both of my majors aren't in that, I was able to really expand my experience in TV during my year as Miss Florida. Whether it was working as a host or working on set with NBC, I've really been able to work with huge local channels as well as big national channels as well, like NBC. So I actually would love, more than anything, my dream job is to be a travel host for a travel show and go all around the world and be able to interview people and their cultures and about their food and their lifestyle. And so that's kind of like the dream job one day. But it's been really interesting to see how my academic experience has prepared me for Miss Florida, but then it has also changed, my experience as Miss Florida has changed really my career ambition over this last year and a half.
Wow, that is so amazing. And yes, I'm going to insert a clip of your show that you do on Instagram as well. Like, you already have a little Miss Florida travel show, which I love. I just think it's the coolest thing. And I can so see you doing that because you just have like a I'll try anything personality. Like, I don't know like how to explain it, but you had this video where you were like holding like a python or whatever.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I don't want to remember it because it sounds like my worst nightmare. I would be like crying and you were just like, and I was like, how is she not screaming?
I know, no, that's actually so funny because I got invited right after Miss America. I'm like still coming off the heels of Miss America. I'm exhausted. And I got invited to go all the way down to the Florida Everglades. And I'm a representative and ambassador on behalf of the Everglades Foundation. So I'm like, what better way to have Miss Florida down in the Glades? And Dusty Crum of the Discovery show called Guardians of the Glades invited me to go out and hunt the python. And so he put it around my neck and like I am holding the mouth shut so it doesn't like turn around and bite me. And it's a total wild python. So like it was absolutely insane, but so much fun. Everyone will believe, like they can't believe that I did that. And it's definitely a story of my Miss Florida year that people will always remember.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Can I feel it? Hate that.
Here, grab the tail. You gotta help me.
Oh. Okay. Here we go. So 2 hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get another hand. Okay, now I'm gonna work around and grab the hand.
I hate the tail.
I can't believe you did that. I mean, again, amazing opportunity. I love how Miss Florida collaborates with the Everglades, of course, but I was like, she's a beauty queen and she can hold a python without crying, so she can do both.
Yes, well, thank you. I honestly do love having that like can-do attitude, and so I did start a adventure show called Miss Florida Finds, where I have been able to go all across our state and just promote those little special finds in Florida that people don't know. And so I'm hoping to go down to the Everglades and maybe make the python find one more time. So we will see if that comes into fruition.
I will be watching in horror, but with support. But I will definitely insert a clip of that there. I absolutely love your show. And I've also seen just throughout your years in Florida, like you said, like you hosted daytime TV at one point and just absolutely killed it. So, and you killed your interview. So I can just definitely see you doing that. And as a part of your time at the University of Alabama, you also mentioned, and I remember this, just of course, fangirling over you throughout the years, that you were on the dance team. So I want to know what being on the collegiate dance team is like. It's very hard to make it. And I know University of Alabama, in addition to being a ginormous university, is also a university where a lot of girls come to be on that very dance team. So it's no doubt competitive. I'd like to know what that audition process is like, and just what being on a collegiate team, how difficult that is.
Yeah, so it is quite the process. It feels like a pageant in a sense where, you do have to go through a process of going against other girls, and there's a final process where they narrow it down. And so it's funny because I find myself in these high stress situations with a bunch of women. And even though we have to compete against each other for that position, you get to meet really cool people in the process. And so the dance team totally was a physically challenging experience, as we did a lot of morning workouts. I remember we had workouts at 4:35 a.m. right before the football team came in, and so that was crazy. But just a great experience to be an ambassador on behalf of the university. We got to compete at nationals, which was incredible. And just to be able to wear that uniform every single day. I'm a huge uniform and dress person. That's why I love pageants and I love competition so much, because you get to just dress the part. And so I really loved that part of it. But it was physically challenging, but it was also mentally challenging, because you have to show up every single day and say, I'm a part of a team, and collectively as a team, we have to all be present and we have to all give it our all. And there are some days where you're tired and you're exhausted and you don't feel like being on Bama dance team, or you don't feel like showing up and being a certain role or position, but you really have to dig deep and find that inner endurance and kind of be your own cheerleader and push yourself. And those days on Bama dance team really prepared me to be on the team of Miss Florida, because it does take a group of people behind the scenes. And there's days where it's challenging and it's hard, but when you show up for other people, that's really what keeps you going.
Exactly. And I loved watching your years at University of Alabama, and you certainly made your mark on them, because I remember when you won Miss Florida, they literally sent you a letter and they were like, we have a Miss Florida as our alumni, roll tide. That was so cool.
It's so sweet. Actually, a year ago from today, I was leaving for Miss America, which is the craziest thing. Yeah, so 365 days from today, I was getting on a plane to go to Miss America, and it all came up on my time hop. And I'm a super nostalgic person, so I was going back through all the posts, and I saw Bama Dance Team sent me so many letters that day, just wishing me the absolute best. And so I've kind of been a little emotional and sappy today, because just a year from today, that all happened, and here we are a year later, and would have never thought I would still be Miss Florida. So it's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, you just made me realize that a year ago, you had no idea what was in store. You had no idea you would be Miss Florida twice. So,
Right.
that is crazy. And not only did you give me a great answer, but you also gave me the perfect segue, because now I'm going to ask you about Miss America.
Yeah.
There's so many questions just about this whole experience, because I don't want to generalize it, because there was just so many remarkable things about your time in Connecticut. The first thing I want to ask you about is well, when you got to Connecticut and you realized that there was going to be all these changes, not only a huge change in venue, but just the way the competition worked. This is a very new format. I was actually talking to Miss Florida 2018, Taylor Tyson, yesterday. She says hello, and she says, you're great. And she was so excited when she found out I was talking to you. But her Miss America was very different, and I guess we really didn't know what was happening there. The next year's Miss America is even more different. I want to know, when you got to Connecticut and you were hearing all these changes, even as you were preparing to get on stage, were you a little fazed by that, or were you just excited to be there, or was it both?
Yeah, so it's funny that Taylor says her year was so different too, because no matter when you show up to Miss America, I feel like it's never going to be what you expect it is going to be.
True.
There's girls that have been competing, or they competed in 2010 at Miss America, and they were like, it was nothing what I thought it would be. And I was like, okay, well, that's comforting to know. But our year, I think, was definitely the most different, considering that it was rebranded to Miss America 2.0, even though the year before us had that. And they had a very specific agenda. They changed the competition location, which was physically so different for us. We always expected it to be in Atlantic City. And so that was definitely something that we had to adjust to. And it's just like you mentioned, they had ever-changing rules and ever-changing guidelines during the week of competition. So when you go to Miss America, you have just this whole idea of what is going to happen. You're going to compete in this phase. It's going to be this portion or this percentage, and it's going to look like this. And so when we all went in with those preconceived notions, they were all completely destroyed within that first 2 days. And so it's hard to like look back on it and say, wow, like, yeah, it was everything I thought it would be, everything I dreamt of it, you know, for so long, because it wasn't, in some good ways and some bad ways. And so it is hard kind of looking back on it. And I was even thinking today, you know, as we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the whole competition, you know, what are my takeaways from it? How am I still processing it? Because it took so many weeks and even months to process the whole experience of like, okay, that is what happened. And these things were changed on us last minute. And that did result in this. So yeah, it is definitely a weird experience of so many different emotions. I would not trade it for the world. I'm so grateful that I was able to compete, make top 15, wave on television, have my whole friends and family come to support me. But there are some things where you just walk away a little disappointed, and you just have to realize like those disappointments don't define you, but they are something that you just have to carry.
Yes, and you know, I can see that you're such a positive person, and that's really what the messages of my show is. And of course, I know you love Miss America. I love Miss America too, no matter what phase it's in. And at the end of the day, it's a great competition. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that you girls have had so many differences throughout your years. I mean, a lot of challenges. I mean, 2 years, a pandemic, a completely new Miss America. And so it's interesting for me to hear how you guys handled that. But I'm sure the support of your sisters, who I know you got very close with. I mean, your class, despite not really being able to get together too much in your second years, right? You are a very close class, and I'm sure that having that support system and each other to rely on certainly helped.
Absolutely. And they are kind of the rock in all of this, because I'm very close with a good bit of them. Miss Kentucky is one of my best friends.
I love her.
And so, yes, Alex is so great. And Alex and I have really been there for each other in the midst of this, because, you know, we're both seeking a new opportunity outside of Miss Kentucky and Miss Florida. We both realize that we've had now a year and a half of this, and, you know, we're still trying to process what Miss America was with moving forward too. And that part has been really weird for us. And so it's just like you said, when you have girls that are in your boat with the same struggles, the same everyday experiences with their state title, it makes you feel so much better. And so they get it. You guys get it on the local level as well. And so that's why it's so important to just link arms during this season and just know that brighter days are ahead.
Yes, and like you said, local girls can relate, but I feel like you state title holders have such an excellent bond because of your very unique situation, and no other state title holder has really had anything quite like it. And so I admire you ladies a lot. And but I really enjoyed watching Miss America, I do have to say. And like you said, you got to wave on TV. I was like, she looks beautiful. I mean, you look so beautiful. And I want to know the story behind the dress. You took a very you're very glamorous, right? And your dress was just as glamorous as you, but it was not as like flashy or sparkly. It was more like old Hollywood glamour, like simple and elegant, but just like gorgeous and red and all the things. And so I want to know how you found your dress.
Yes, I love this story because I love glamour, and I love just building something from scratch, like having an idea on your brain and then seeing it on stage and you're like, wow, I created that. But I always said from the beginning, like even when I started Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen, that I wanted to one day be on the Miss America stage in a red dress. And so I don't know what it was. It was just always a red dress. And then when they moved the competition at Christmas time, I'm like, perfect, red dress. But yeah, red was just always my color if I were to make it to Miss America. So I was set on the color as soon as I won Miss Florida, and I got to now make this dress. And then just like you said, I wanted kind of that like ode to old Hollywood glamour. I love just the slit on my dress because like I wanted to have that like modern kind of twist to it, but then also, I don't know, just still give that modesty on the top. So we got to play around with it. I went all the way to New York City. And that was like one of my most fun days as Miss Florida. I got to meet Carrie there of Regalia Gowns, and Carrie and I got to try on all these different fabrics, colors, styles at Giovanni Fashions in the Fashion District. And it was so, I mean, it was everything I thought it would be and more. We had the best day. We got to get food. And I mean, it was just like a celebration of just making it that far. And so we were able to see the fabric. We pulled the fabric on me. you could see on my dress, if you zoom in, it's a very pulled look. And so we were able to play around with silk and gosh, all these different fabrics. I can't even think of them right now. Carrie is just the genius in it all. And he is the best. And then at the final product, we made so many different alterations, but it was so cool to then be on Miss America stage and be like, wow, this is like what we came up with. And usually I am a very glitzy person. I love, like, the more rhinestones, the better. But there was something about Miss America where I was like, I just want a solid color, and I just want to go out there and just feel beautiful in it and have nothing take away from my joy and like my face of expressing that. So I always love talking about it though, because if I could redo that whole process of making the dress, I would.
That's like straight out of like a Disney movie, like a princess transformation, like finding the dress. Like, it just sounds like a girly girl's dream. And I love what you said, that it was a celebration of the fact that you made it that far, and you just seem to enjoy every single moment and soak it all in, which I think is so important during this incredibly influential year in your life. And you looked radiant in the dress. I could tell you loved it. And like, while you said it wasn't necessarily like diamond encrusted or anything too flashy, it was like perfectly glamorous. And you and Lauren Malella, I saw a picture of you guys in Miss New York. You both look like Christmas twins, because she had like the white fur and you had like the red dress, and I was like, perfect for Christmas.
Oh my gosh, I love that picture. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I saw it the other day and I'm like, I need to put this on my Instagram feed because it just goes with the Christmas vibe. But yeah, it was the best process, and I really hope that I can like put it on a mannequin one day and put it in like a glass box and like store it forever.
So you made top 15 at Miss America, which was so exciting for us all. They did have a very weird thing that they did though this year, where it was top 15, right? Mm-hmm. Then commercial break, then 7 people. I believe that's what it was. Were you like, was that confusing a little bit, the format?
Yeah, it was confusing considering we knew the format the day before. And that goes back to learning how to be flexible, because we did not know that they were going to go from 15 to 7 until the dress rehearsal of the telecast. So we kind of all looked at each other and we were like, oh my gosh, I have 50 people flying up here from Florida. And do they know that? Like, do they know that like they're going from 15 to 7 and I could be in the 15 and not the 7? So no one knows. And so I was just thankful that I made the top 15, but I was, backstage, I like can go back to that moment. Backstage, I was really nervous because no one knew like who that top 7 were going to be. So there's 8 of us standing around that didn't get called for the top 7. And we're just waiting around and we're like, are they going to call us? Are they going to call us? Like, I got to be on right now. I'm going through like talking points that like I've practiced over and over again with my interview coach. And it was nerve wracking for sure. But when they called the top 7 and I wasn't in it, it honestly was just a sign of relief. Like, I made it as far as I possibly could. I was disappointed more so that I couldn't dance on live television, because that was always my dream, was to perform my talent. But I am a big believer in the fact that everything happens for a reason. And I just wasn't supposed to be in that top 7. And I mean, outside of the top 15, there are so many incredible girls that deserved to be in that 15. And so like, I now look back on it, I have the most joy in knowing like I made it that far. And yes, would I have wanted to make it in top 5? Of course, every girl wants to. At that point, it really is a crapshoot, because so many of us are, you know, so talented and can and deserve to be in that position of Miss America. But yeah, I remember thinking when I wasn't called for the top 7, like, oh, my family's going to be so disappointed, but they're so supportive. And honestly, they loved me through everything. And yeah, they're great.
And as Michaela mentioned earlier, she was not able to perform her talent during the live telecast, but I wanted to show you guys a clip of her preliminary performance because she is just incredible. I've had the privilege of seeing her live, and this girl has so much talent. It's almost unbelievable, but I wanted to show you guys why we are all so proud of her. So here is her amazing performance on the Miss America stage, and she is just amazing.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. just the sum of every high and every low. Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing, and you say I'm strong when I think I am weak, and you say I'm held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong, oh, you say that I am yours. Oh, I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. You're my identity, Lord.
How could they be disappointed? I mean, honestly, what an incredible accomplishment. Like you said, most of the girls I've interviewed, because it's interesting for me to get to talk to you about it, because I know most of the girls in your class, I've gotten to talk to them, and it
Amazing.
surprises me each time. Oh, this girl didn't make top 15. Like, she's incredible. How did that happen? But it makes me realize, like, every single girl's incredible. Every single girl won their state for a reason. So top 15 is an incredibly hard thing to achieve. And
So
you
true.
should be so proud. And like you said about your dance, which I'm actually going to get to next, it's incredible. I got to watch it live, and your beautiful purple costume, just stunning. And any other year, with the traditional format of like top 15, you would have gone to perform your dance. It was only the weird
Right.
that kind of acts that chance. So I can completely understand why that might have been frustrating to you, but we were so proud. And just I feel like like you said, it was anxiety inducing, because you may have known the format the day before, but you didn't really exactly know, well, they're still going to call it the 8 of us to still do something, like
Exactly.
back there. Like, you must have been like, wait, am I going to go on TV, or can I go backstage and like hang out with my friends?
Semi-finalists who have all won enhanced scholarships, and now the real test for them begins. Only 7 of those 15 remaining candidates, based on the scores of the preliminary judges, will move on to the finals and get to compete for nearly $200,000 in scholarships. And the first challenge these 7 will face is the Miss America job interview. Our judges have the names of those 7 finalists. Kelly?
I know. It was crazy when we had some of the backstage managers kind of show us like, hey, you're good to go. Like, we don't need you anymore for the live telecast. And we looked at each other and we were like, this is weird. I mean, we changed into our interview dresses.
Right, I saw that.
Like, okay, let's change back into our gowns. And it just was, I don't know, it was this bizarre, like, okay, I guess this is like where we're at right now, and we're just gonna go backstage and chill, because you go from like being so hyper focused on what you're about to say and being in the mode and like you're in the zone of wanting to win Miss America, to then not making it and just like putting on slippers and chilling out backstage. It's like 2 extremes in a matter of like 30 seconds.
True. And I do want to say too, I loved your powder blue interview outfit. You look like a first lady, so you were slaying. At least you got to make an appearance, right?
Really, it did make NBC for like 0.5 seconds, but
it was still iconic while it lasted. And before I get to your dance, I just do want to ask, because you brought up a good point. You're in the zone, right? You are so razor sharp focused. I guess this would apply to Miss Florida too, but being on live television in front of millions of people might put things into a different perspective. How do you get in that zone? Like, what do you say to yourself? How do you mentally prepare for something that's scary?
yeah, great question. It took months of interview prep. I prepped with Allison Krieger Walsh every single
Love
day.
her so much.
Yep, she's amazing. She's a former Miss Florida. If you don't know her, she's a boss babe. She kills the game every single day. And we just woke up at 7:30 in the morning, and she would just rattle off interview questions and rattle off just current events and just get me in that mind. And so I had what we call a bag of tricks. And in my bag of tricks were all of my talking points. And so I would warm up my bag of tricks 5 times a day and just know, like, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I'm passionate about. Brave and beautiful is all that I want to do, blah, 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 and just warm up that bag of tricks. But in that moment of Miss America, so much of it goes back to self-talk and how are you encouraging yourself and how are you motivating yourself? Because in that moment, so much fear and anxiety and pressure can overtake your mind. But if you're just talking yourself saying like, I am called to do this. I am equipped to do this. I was chosen to do this. All of that is going to build you up. And so I really, really had to get into that zone of just tuning out everything else and really talking to myself and being my own coach in a sense.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that Allison, Miss Florida 2006, helped you because she's just incredible. And I'm sure that you had other former Miss Floridas, like you said, Tori Cohen, you're very close with, and girls who have made it on Miss America's telecast just were able to give you advice. And that's amazing to hear that that sisterhood is there for you and can help you through that, no doubt, very daunting task to be on live TV. And it wasn't even me. I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared for her. And I was like, I can't get that feeling, right?
Right. Yeah, quite the experience.
So, and now I want to ask about your dance. And even though you didn't get to perform it necessarily on the live telecast, you did get to do it at prelims, and I got to watch that online. I'll insert a clip here because people need to see how great it is. I do want to ask, I grew up as a dancer, right? I'm nowhere near your competition level, but I do know that performing on certain floors is trickier than performing on others, right? Your studio might have a sprung floor, or competition stage might have, a setup where it's safe for dancers, but I'm not sure how Miss America does that. Were you nervous to perform on a different turf? I know it sounds like quite a very detailed question, but I am curious, for someone doing your level of tricks, like aerials or fouettes or anything, how do you prepare to dance on a different floor?
Yeah, so that's a great question because I have actually grown up dancing on several different surfaces and textures, and so that prepared me over the years. I'm like a performing arts missionary, and so I've traveled all across the world in performing on basketball courts to really slick stages, and so I actually performed on several different surfaces to prepare, and that really helped me. But when I was there at Miss America, thankfully they had a Marley, and so that is like my dream texture, or dream surface, I should say. And so that really helped me. But that final night was a glass floor. And so as a dancer, like when you see those glass floors, you're like, holy cow, I have not danced on that quite yet. And so that was really nerve-wracking. But then I also had the opportunity to perform on a similar stage like that right before Miss America, because we knew the flooring and Miss America told us about that. But you really just have to, it goes back to being flexible and going back to just relying on your skill set and knowing that you can do it, and just not letting those little factors really play a huge, just like changing how your performance is going to be, because you got to really just roll with the punches in those situations, no matter what the flooring may be.
Exactly. And you keep going back to this theme, this constant theme throughout your year, being adaptable, being flexible. As Miss Florida, I'm sure it is very important to be able, in any situation, really, like, let's say you're on an appearance and someone's like, oh, Michaela, we need to give you a speech, and they didn't tell you that, but last minute you have to get it together. Or like you said, with the floor, being adaptable and flexible, or taking on a second year, being flexible with that as well, right? So you have to be prepared for any challenge that comes your way. And another new thing that Miss America added, which adds to your adaptability and flexibility, right, is the social impact pitch. So you had to get on stage and present your platform, and now your platform is so important to you, and I'd love you to touch more on that. You even have a podcast related to it. You're constantly hustling it. And so I want to know, because for someone like you who is so passionate about what they preach, I'm sure this might have been an exciting opportunity for you to be able to speak about it on the Miss America stage. But was that a little bit of a curveball where you weren't sure how to handle that format, because you guys were the very first to try it out?
Yes. Honestly, social impact pitch became one of my favorite parts of the entire competition, because for the one time I felt like everyone was silent and listening to what I was passionate about, what I was doing in the past to further my social impact initiative, and then just the message that I wanted to relay to my generation. And so it was nerve-wracking that we were like the first class to roll it out, but yet it was so exciting because I really did feel like the audience was receiving it, and I felt like they were listening to all of us. And because we spend so much time in that area, we needed that moment. We needed that moment where everyone finally could say, wow, she's done this, this, and this, and she is going to do this. And so I loved it. It was a little nerve-wracking at first, being like, am I doing this right? Because no one's done it in the past. But so exciting now looking back on it. And I would say it's one of the phases of competition that are equal with talent. I love talent, and that's my favorite. But now I could say like social impact pitch is right up there with it.
The addictive misuse of social media by today's young women is escalating a mental health crisis that breeds anxiety, depression, and negative body image. In fact, 210 million people are estimated to suffer from a social media addiction. As someone who has struggled with this personally, I created Brave and Beautiful to empower women to break free from behind the screen. I've attacked this crisis head-on by creating a three-pronged approach focused on empowerment, advocacy, and education to promote social media literacy. I've spoken to 10,000 women in 4 countries, encouraging them to become comfortable in their own skin. In addition to creating the Be Brave and Beautiful podcast, I've sat down with team members of Instagram to discuss a partnership with their new campaign, Combating the Pressure to Be Perfect. Alongside Media Literacy Now and the Federal Trade Commission, I am working with the University of Florida to promote a social media curriculum that can be implemented in schools nationwide.
And I just want to say your platform, Be Brave and Beautiful, is just so nice because it is all about female empowerment and making women feel confident. It's an outlet for Christian women, which I personally love. And I feel like it's just an excellent source of role models for young women because, you know, Christian women speaking about their feelings and thoughts and being confident isn't really super mainstream.
Right.
We see another Miss Florida, Tori Cohen, using her platform for that sort of content as well, which we love to see. But other than that, I haven't really seen much of that. And so I think that's absolutely incredible.
That social impact initiative in that way of still being true to my faith, but also making an impact on a state level and a national level. And so to do that at Miss America and just kind of give that message of just hope and women empowerment and faith and just our values and beliefs as young women was one of the most rewarding experiences. And so I'm very grateful for just the fact that Miss America opened up that avenue and that ability for all of us to share what we really are just on fire for. So it's awesome.
So you just did absolutely amazing at Miss America, and I just wanted to touch on your experience. It's very interesting to hear what that was like for you, but you handled it all with such grace and class, as you always handle everything. And I just wanted to say we are all so proud of you, and you inspired so many of us, and I just wanted to give you claps for that.
Thank you.
And just touch on your Miss Florida win. I want to know what you felt like when you won that, because I kind of passed over that because the Miss America segue was right there, but I do want to know what that moment was like, your culmination of hard work and preparation finally peaked at that moment, and I just want to know how rewarding that was for you.
Yeah, it is truly the best feeling. I will say every girl dreams for that experience and just that moment of knowing that you accomplished that dream and people are there to cheer you on. Your friends and family are in the audience and you just feel like all your hard work over the years have paid off. And so in that one moment of them calling my name, it's just like a rush of emotions. Like I go back to that moment and think like my family started screaming, my friends were going crazy. I felt like, oh my gosh, we made it. And then little did I know in that moment that I was winning 2 years to Miss Florida, which I probably would have like cried a little harder. So it really was everything that I thought that moment would be and more. And I just remember that night we went back to the hotel, and this was the private part of it that no one really got to see, but it was one of the most special. I had all my friends and family waiting there for me. They got a big cookie cake, and like it said, like, congratulations, Miss Florida. And I don't know if they thought I was going to win, but they like made it already before I won. And so it just was so special. We got to like celebrate and have a little after party of just all my favorite people in one place, and nothing makes me more happy. I'm such a people person, and so that was really like the best part of the whole night. I had family come in from all around the country, and I'm just so excited for this year and crowning the next Miss Florida, because they're all going to come back and they're going to see the whole thing come full circle, and that'll be a great moment as well.
Runner-up and winner of a $6,000 scholarship is Miss University of Florida, Leah Roddenberry, and that means your new Miss Florida and winner of a $15,000 scholarship, Miss Florida Citrus, Michaela McLean.
I feel like new sunglasses.
And I remember watching your win live. I loved your dress then too. It was very unique. We had the strapless white, right, with the sequin collar. That was just, like, fabulous. And I just the excitement in the room was palpable. We were actually sitting right behind your family. So I got to
No.
see Mom go insane. She was
Wait, I have to apologize because my whole family, I heard that like they had to apologize to the people behind them because like they were just on another level. There's pictures of my mom, which is so funny. And she is like slumped in her seat like this, like the whole the first half of the competition. Cause I mean, our parents, they, I think are more nervous than we are.
oh yeah, no, but they were like, we were not upset by it at all. We were so happy because like my mom and I were like so happy for you, and then to like be able to watch your family go insane was very, very nice.
Insane.
And
Absolutely.
for a good reason. Your mom was like having a dance party. It was like, whoa! I was like, yeah, that's Michaela's family.
That would be my family. They are crazy. For everyone watching this, I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And then I also have a massive extended family on both my mom and dad's side. And so we love to just cheer each other on in like life's biggest moments. And so we all come out to support, from pageants to soccer games to musical theater productions. So we had the whole McLean dream team there is what we like to call them.
Yes, and I was just telling Michaela briefly, I was just like, I love the McLean family, right? Like they're all gorgeous, and so it's so nice to have that support system by your side. And we've touched on so many things, Michaela, in this interview. We've touched on your service, you know, the 2 years that you're serving as Miss Florida, the pandemic and how that kind of threw a wrench in things, your Miss America experience. We've talked about so many great things, right? And
Yeah.
I want to know, you've had quite the journey, and your journey's not quite over yet. You still have a few more months until June, right, when you give up your crown, but you've been through so much already. And I want to know, what is the silver lining throughout this whole journey to you? What is the best part of your year as Miss Florida that sticks out to you as being the most memorable?
Such a great question. And I just love being able to tap into this because I think there's a silver lining in everything. But I would say in the extra year as Miss Florida, and just as my role as Miss Florida from the beginning, whether I didn't get the extra year or not, is that you are in a position to literally change people's lives each and every single day, whether that is virtually, whether that's in person, whether it is a brief school meeting, or it is a prestigious government gala or dinner. You are in the position to be able to meet people from all walks of lives and just impart little seeds of joy and hope and encouragement. And so when you realize that this job is actually far from being about you, and it's all about other people and the people that you serve and how you can be a light toward them, you will gain the most out of it because you can learn something new from every single person's life. And so I will say that it is the silver lining in just moving forward, is knowing that I get to meet more people, either virtually or in person, and get to hear about their life and hear about their experiences and see how that can sharpen me. But ultimately, how can that help me impart something new into their lives that can ultimately make them a better person too. And so I'm so thankful that this job has just opened up door after door after door in meeting every kind of person out there, all across the state and all across the nation. And so I'm just so thankful that we continue to have that opportunity going forward. And you just never know who you're going to meet through that. And that's why being Miss Florida is one of the best jobs in the world, because you get to communicate and learn and grow from so many different life experiences.
And I think the most key thing that describes your year as Miss Florida is what you said. This job is far from being about you, right? Like this job is far about being from me. You're serving others, and you know that part of you is just so special that you recognize that this is a job about service and you give back. And I can see just from the way you talk about your platform or just touching the lives of children or people that you meet, whether they're adults or they're little, no matter what, just being able to impact them is what sticks out most to you. And I absolutely love that. And I mean, like I said earlier, I'll say it again, you have impacted our class as well, just being such a leader. And I mean, all the ladies I've talked to from your class are incredible, but I feel indebted to you because you have been so inspiring to all of us and such a light and so positive and keeping our spirits up, which hasn't been easy because you're dealing with your own personal things and, you know, your own year and everything, and you still made it a priority to comfort us and make us feel like we are a family, which we most certainly are. So I appreciate you. I'm so proud that we have you representing the state of Florida, and I'm competing to steal your job from you, but I think that our girl comes up with very big shoes to fill.
You're so sweet. That really is like what is the juice that keeps me going in this second year. And I'm just so thankful that Florida has the best of the best local ambassadors and role models, and just to hear from you and see all the talents and gifts that you have and how you're strategically using them to advance yourself and this organization is so encouraging, you know. And that's what keeps us state title holders going, is we have an army of young women behind us that are the movers and shakers of their community. And it is so cool to see you guys just continue to have that new fire and just that new passion for what you're doing. So thank you, seriously.
I know that means a lot to us. And guys, you need to keep up with Michaela because, like I said, her year's not over yet, right? She has a lot going on, and albeit virtually, she's still slaying the game, literally. And you guys need to keep up with her and her travel show, all her posts. I mean, this girl has impeccable feed. I'm just trying to figure out what Visco she uses, so I will be interrogating her after.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm seriously, I'm gonna be like, okay, Michaela, you use Juno? Oh, Valencia. Got it. It's so good. It's so good. I feel like mine's a mess, and hers is like together, and I'm like jealous, right? She's always posting gorgeous photos, so you need to keep up with her. Listen to her podcast. It truly is great, and you have such a great podcasting voice, by the way. I felt like very calm, and I was like doing my makeup, listening to
Yes. Oh, well, thank you. I'm gonna get back to it soon. I took a little bit of a break because I had to do some personal development stuff, but you know, now we're gonna get back to it.
Miss Florida. You weren't that busy, okay?
Right.
Just competing at Miss America, whatever she is, right? But you guys need to keep up with her. Of course, shameless plug, follow me. And you guys, you need to donate to the Miss Florida organization. I know Michaela encourages this, but there are so many ways to give back and to continue their dream of helping young women like myself and like Michaela achieve their dreams. And so there are several ways to do that. I'll put that down in the description for more details. And of course, I mean, you guys have to know that the Miss Florida competition is on June 26, 2021. What will be happening with the in-person, I'm not too sure yet. I'm sure there'll be some element of social distancing, but there is a live stream option available. So either way, you better be watching to see Michaela give up her crown. And Michaela, thank you so much again for being here. You are absolutely amazing.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your time, for just such great questions, for making me feel so special just now, and so excited for your show and all that you're doing to highlight the young women of this organization.
Thank you, Michaela. Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. Your support means the world to me. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel and like and comment on my videos because your support is what fuels my ability to make content. I'll see you guys next time, and once again, thanks for joining me for another episode of The Silver Lining. Love you guys. Bye!